Hi, I'm Amy from Select Travel Holidays. I hope you're well and I hope you're enjoying our virtual touring and destinations festival. We're continuing the theme of exotic destinations today, and in this presentation we're going to take a look at the legendary Silk Road, or the 5 stands of Central Asia. This is obviously a region that's become more popular, increasingly so, over the last few years, thanks to the wonderful Joanna Lumley, but nonetheless it remains relatively untouched. With Central Asia's increasing prominence on many travellers' bucket lists, more and more touring companies are offering trips to the region, particularly to Uzbekistan, the jewel of the Silk Road, including household names such as Titan and Saga. We've actually seen that it's more the mature travellers rather than backpackers that are driving demand for the destination. However, we've asked Regent Holidays to showcase the 5 stands of the Silk Road because they are off the beaten track specialists. They've been pioneering tailor-made travel to unique and alternative destinations for over 40 years. And we're one of the first to operate tours to Russia, Ukraine, the stands, Albania, North Korea and Greenland. So they've always taken their guests to the more quirky, offbeat destinations. Therefore, they were the ideal choice to show us the highlights of the Silk Road. But before Marianne, their Central Asia specialist, is going to start us on our journey along the Silk Road, we're going to have a little video clip of some of the other destinations that Regent can take you on, and whether it's tailor-made by yourself or on a small group tour. Well, that's given us a little flavour of some of the unusual destinations that Regent can take you to. But now it's time to focus on Central Asia, which I hope and I'm sure you'll find inspiring.
Hi, I'm Marianne. I look after all the tours to Central Asia at Regent Holidays. Central Asia encompasses Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, 5 countries that found their independence with the collapse of the Soviet Union. Since then, they've had their work cut out becoming their own states. Borders were drawn by the Soviets to break up ethnic groups, and therefore tensions have risen as each country tries to find cohesion. Throughout history, different civilizations and empires have swept through, conquering, building, and then being conquered themselves. Today we can see the remains left, and the influences of great empires such as Alexander, the Persians, the Mongols and the Timurids. The people of Central Asia are a blend of the local ethnic groups, but with a legacy left by the Russians. Throughout each country we find warm welcomes as these countries open up to tourism. I've been working with Central Asia for 9 years now, and I've been lucky enough to visit many times, but it's a vast region and there's still plenty more I'd like to see there. I'll introduce you now to the different countries. Uzbekistan, perhaps the best known and the first thought of for a trip along the Silk Road. Uzbekistan is home to some fantastic examples of Islamic architecture. Amir Timur was born here and made his capital in Samarkand. During his time, great religious buildings were constructed, with vast mosques and madrasas, as well as mausoleum complexes, all adorned with colourful tilework, and the great blue domes we still see today. Since independence, the Uzbeks have become fiercely proud of the warrior and the Timurid Empire. The Silk Road cities of Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva are the main draws for tourists keen to learn about the history and see the architecture. Although a visit to the capital Tashkent is also worthwhile for the museums, the small old city, and to see the newer Soviet and modern-day monuments and buildings. Samarkand is known for the epic Registan Square, the tomb of Timur himself, and the necropolis of the Shah Zinda. The historic centre of Bukhara is UNESCO listed and is the most complete example of a medieval city in Central Asia. Wandering through the streets here takes you from monument to monument, with mausoleums, madrasas, minarets, and trading domes, where it is the tourists who now barter for goods. Khiva is known as a living museum. Dating back 2,000 years, behind 10-metre-high walls, the palaces, mosques, and minarets have been well preserved. It's not just all about history and architecture, though. Uzbekistan is home to some beautiful countryside, with villages and farms. A stay in the Norata Mountains will introduce you to a rural way of life and allow for some walking. Tourism has really taken off in Uzbekistan in the last few years, and pre-COVID, hotel rooms could be hard to find. Travellers are treated to a wide range of accommodation, from simple family-run hotels in historic buildings to 5-star international brands. The train network now links the country, and travellers can take high-speed trains between the main cities, reducing the need for car or air travel. Even before you set off for Kyrgyzstan, you get a sense of how remote and off the beaten track it is, by the blank looks on the face of anyone who you tell where you're going. The consonant-to-vowel ratio of its name is enough to bewilder most people, and you won't be alone in needing to practice how to pronounce it. Nearly all trips start in the capital Bishkek, a fairly Soviet city with wide streets, plenty of parks and trees, and its share of concrete monuments. But the mountains visible from everywhere in the city are a reminder of the true essence of the country. 93% of the country is mountains, and 40% of it is over 3,000 metres in altitude. This is a paradise for those who love landscapes and big skies. During the summer months, thousands of Kyrgyz nomads head up into the mountain pastures with their herds and yurts. They spend the months moving from area to area, feeding their cattle. But the ultimate nomad destination is Songkul Lake. Set on a plateau at just over 3,000 metres, the shores of the lake are littered with yurt camps and nomads' yurts. Another of the Great Lakes is Issyk. The waters of Issyk are by no means a secret in the region, with locals flocking to the shores every summer. The North Shore hosts those looking for a beach resort, and the South Shore is dotted with villages. Close by are the Jetty Oguz Canyon and the Fairy Tale Canyon for walking. In the west of the country, set in one of the world's largest walnut forests, is the alpine landscape and village of Arslanbob. A little like stepping back in time, the majority of the villagers are farmers, and many use horse and cart to get around. The village have set up a thriving community-based tourism project, and there are a number of comfortable homestays with welcoming families. One of the most isolated caravanserais on the Silk Route, Tashrabat is an 18th century stone building in the south close to the Chinese border and at an altitude of 3,200 metres. A caravanserai provided an overnight stop for traders travelling on the Silk Route, with space for the animals as well as the traders inside. Turkmenistan is a closed, secretive dictatorship, home to many Bronze Age archaeological sites, the Kopetdeg Mountains, and vast areas of desert, as well as huge oil and gas reserves. An interesting place. The first time I visited, my guide said to me, "Welcome to Ashgabat. It's bizarre." He was right. This is a country where the first president renamed the months of the year after members of his own family and wrote a book which got its own statue. The capital city, Ashgabat, has been rebuilt over the last couple of decades by the current and former president, keen to showcase a modern city. The centre is now built of shining white marble, and there are a number of presidential monuments. The Arch of Neutrality is perhaps the most famous, on which the former president's statue rotates throughout the day so it always faces the sun. The country is home to a number of ancient cities, from the Parthian site of Old Nisa to the Bronze Age Gonadepe and the historical timeline of ancient Merv, once the largest city on the Silk Road. Out in the desert is a sight not to be missed, the Darvaza gas crater, or Gateway to Hell as it is known. It is a result of a drilling incident in the 1970s. They lit the gas to burn it off, but it's still burning today. Tourists can camp out in the desert to visit this wonder at night. Turkmenistan also had a medieval city to rival Uzbekistan's. Although little remains of Konya Genç, it is UNESCO listed and is still home to a 60-metre high minaret. Kazakhstan is a huge country, home to high mountains, futuristic cities, Silk Road trading centres, and the vast steppe. The capital, Nur-Sultan, was recently renamed after the late president, not a surprise in these parts. It was purpose-built by him as his new capital and has many extravagant buildings, some designed by Norman Foster. Tourists can go to the top of the Bayturek Tower, the symbol of the city. When they place their hand in the president's gold handprint, the national anthem plays through speakers. The former capital, Almaty, is known as the home of the apple. It is ringed by mountains and tourists can visit museums in the morning and ski or skate in the snow in the afternoon. There are a number of alpine lakes nearby. The numerous mountains make for outstanding hiking, although facilities are basic with homestays being the only accommodation. The beautiful views are worth it though. Elsewhere, Kazakhstan has some more unusual sights. The Baikonur Cosmodrome still sees space launches, and it is where Tim Peak launched from. Permits for launches are hard to come by, but not impossible. Semipalatinsk was the test site of the Soviet nuclear programs in the 50s. While the US were testing out in their desert, the Soviets were doing exactly the same. It is now possible to visit the site. Protective clothing must be worn as radiation levels are still high, but it's not every day you stand on the epicenter of a nuclear bomb. The smallest of the Central Asian countries, but at the highest altitude, Tajikistan treats travellers to epic mountainscapes, as well as ancient ruins and the modern city of Dushanbe. There is little to hold the visitors' interest in Dushanbe, though, other than the world's second highest flagpole. Most travellers will head to either the Fan Mountains or the Pamirs. The Fan Mountains have peaks over 5,000 metres and are easily accessible from Dushanbe and from Tashkent in Uzbekistan. High passes, hiking, mountain lakes and village homestays await. The Pamirs are reached along the awesome Pamir Highway. Most travellers opt to follow the Panj River, which forms the border between Tajikistan and the Wakhan in Afghanistan. This is one of the most beautiful places I have ever visited, and I feel honoured to have seen it. Small villages with their gardens and fruit trees are splashes of green against the rocky landscape. The river flows quickly through the valley, and on the other side, the Hindu Kush stretches into the distance. Accommodation is very basic here. The small towns have simple hotels, the villages have simple homestays, and it's a great place to disconnect from modern life, Wi-Fi, and phone signal. A trip along the Pamir Highway is one of the world's greatest road journeys. Although with its rough roads, long distances, and high altitudes, it's not for everyone. Although stopping on 5,500 metre passes in the snow and walking through fields of wildflowers by mountain streams in the same day is a great way to spend a holiday in my book. So that's a very brief introduction to Central Asia. There really is something for everyone. It is easily accessible from the UK with some direct flights and plenty of indirect options. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan are all visa-free for UK passport holders, and the time difference is only 5 or 6 hours. We have a range of group tours to all 5 countries, focusing on history, culture, architecture, and seeing some of the off-the-beaten-track sites. We can also put together tailor-made options, whether it is city tours, hiking in the mountains, or a family holiday that you're after.
I hope Marianne's presentation gave you a valuable insight into what to expect on a trip to Central Asia and perhaps some inspiration too. I know that it's a region, particularly Uzbekistan, that's very high on my personal wish list. And if you would like to find out more about either travelling with Regent Holidays and any of the destinations you saw in that video clip or to Central Asia, then give us a call on 01234 326 778, or of course you can email us sales@cruiseselect.co.uk. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you for watching and take care and stay tuned for more.